Hey dudes, I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking, I'm going to show you how to make classic scalloped potatoes. This is a rich and creamy potato preparation, probably invented in France, that'll go great for your Thanksgiving or Christmas or other holiday feasting tables. Festivities. Okay, we're gonna start out this by sauteing some onions until they're super soft. So I've got a little bit of butter here, onion and garlic that I've chopped up really small because we want them to almost like melt into the sauce. So we can just kind of leave these alone here over a medium-high heat, maybe for 10 minutes, just stir them occasionally. And while that's happening, I'm gonna go over here and cut up the rest of my potatoes. So I'm using a mandolin slicer. This is like a super cheap like plastic one. I think I got it for about $10 in 2003. You can spend up to like over $100 on these, but it's actually really helpful when you're trying to do a lot of really thin sliced potatoes like this. You can always use a knife. That's totally fine. But I'm going to use two different types of potatoes. I've got a russet potato, and these are what's called a boiling potato. They're starchier. This is what you usually make mashed potatoes out of. And they kind of have a mealy, fluffy texture. And then I'm using some red potatoes, which are what's known as waxy variety, and they are firmer and denser. So this is gonna help thicken up our sauce, and then this is gonna add texture. And together, they'll make a perfect blend of potato flavor. So I'm gonna peel the russets because their skin is a little bit coarse. And for some reason, these turned green because I guess I had them in the light. So you want to make sure you get all that off. That actually is bad for you if you eat a whole lot of it. I forget exactly what the deal is, but it's something that happens when the potatoes are exposed to sunlight. That's a fact. Get this a little bit wet, very carefully. Start making slices. And you always want to have the mandolin like perpendicular to you, not sideways. Don't be doing like this. Don't be doing like this. Be doing like this instead. And then they will all come with a finger guard, which I rarely use because I'm an idiot, but it just kind of has these little grippy things. So you just stab the little piece of food whenever it gets small and use that to hold it so you're not cutting your fingers off. I first used a mandolin when I was working in this kitchen in New Zealand, and they would have me do the mandolin so they would make pickles all the time. And man, I cut myself so many times. It was ridiculous. And I still didn't use that stupid finger guard because I'm a moron. Anyway, should have sued those bastards, right? Just kidding. That's the American in me coming out. Go back to these. A little bit browner than I wanted. Got a little distracted there, but it's totally fine. They're all still very soft. So, and I'm gonna add a bay leaf and some fresh thyme leaves. You can totally use dried, it doesn't matter. I just happen to have fresh. You don't have to chop thyme, it's so tiny. You can just pull the leaves off the stems and throw it in there. And then I'm gonna add some milk. This is about a 1.5 cups that I've warmed up, and it's whole milk. Whoa, that's a lot of steam that just came up and almost burned my hand. Okay, stir this around. I'm gonna increase my heat a little bit and start putting our potatoes in. So you might notice that I am not making a bechamel sauce. I'm not making a roux or anything like that. The original scalloped potatoes was really or scalloped anything really, it's just a way of cooking stuff in cream or milk. So the potato starch is actually what's gonna thicken our sauce for us, and then also doesn't hurt to have some heavy cream in there, right? So we'll add the heavy cream later. But as these cook in the milk, they're gonna release a lot of starch and thicken that up, and then anyway, you'll see what happens after that. But a lot of modern recipes will make a roux, which is totally fine, but to me this is a lot easier because you don't have to make a roux. So I like to put the russet potatoes on the bottom since they are starchier. I want to make sure that they're in the milk so they're releasing all that starch. And then I like to put the red potatoes on top. I don't really know if it matters all that much, and the milk is not going to cover them right away. That's okay, because as they cook, they're gonna release some liquid, and then they'll get covered, and then as that liquid cooks off, they'll get uncovered again. And anyway, you'll just see what happens at that point also. Oh, I forgot to put the salt in. Where's my head today? Okay, just about a half a teaspoon. And some pepper, of course. Sometimes you just forget the basics, right? So what we're gonna do now is just keep an eye on this, stir it around every once in a while. See, it's already kind of coming up to a little bubble here. What we wanna do is bring this milk up to a simmer and then let the potatoes simmer in it uncovered for about 7 minutes until they're mostly tender. Okay, so 5 to 7 minutes later, you can see the milk, the cream level, liquid level kind of rose up, and now it's cooked back down again, and these potatoes are not super tender, but they're definitely not raw. So what we can do is go ahead and transfer them into our pan. I'm using just a deep dish pie pan that I have generously buttered. And then I've also got some panko breadcrumbs. I'm gonna sprinkle about a tablespoon of those in the bottom. And you could use regular breadcrumbs, but these are nice because they're really coarse and extra crunchy. All right, so now I'm going to carefully transfer the potatoes only into this dish. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but not too bad. And whenever you find that bay leaf, pull that out. Or you could start a new tradition and just say whoever finds the bay leaf gets good luck all year. So now the little potato bits that are stuck in the bottom here, I'm actually just gonna kind of break those up, and I'm gonna add some heavy cream. And I'm just gonna pour this over our layered potatoes. And now at this point, I'm gonna add a little bit more cream just because I want the potatoes a tiny bit more covered. They don't have to be covered all the way, but a little bit more than this. And it's kind of depends on how much of a simmer you have going on, like how much of that milk boils off. And then, so about like that. Let's get that little dude down on the side. And then we're gonna cover it with the rest of our breadcrumbs. And if you want to put grated cheese on top, you can totally do that, like maybe a half a cup, a quarter cup of Swiss or Parmesan or cheddar or Gouda. Gouda's good. Munster. Whatever you like, you can totally do that. But I don't know, I feel like with the cream and the milk and everything, it's heavy enough for me just like this. So, all right, there we go. So now I'm just going to put this in the oven at 350. I'm going to put a baking sheet underneath this because sometimes the cream will boil over and then it ends up on the bottom of your oven and then you will be super pissed. So make sure you do that. And we're gonna put it in the oven for 350 for about 40 minutes until the potatoes are really tender, the top is crunchy, and the cream is kind of like bubbled up around the edges and thick and creamy. And there we go, scalloped potatoes. So these have been cooling here for about 30 minutes. They're still pretty warm. That's actually one of the great things about scalloped potatoes versus mashed potatoes is that they keep their heat a lot longer and you can make them ahead of time. You could just stop before you bake them, cover that up and put it in the fridge and then bake it and add some extra time. So there we go. See how nice and thick that is? The potatoes have melded with the milk and they've made a nice sturdy little casserole here. And it pretty much tastes like mashed potatoes, but a different form. So you can totally put gravy on this too. All right, let's give it a little taste here. So please, if you like this recipe, check out the broccoli cheese casserole I did earlier this week. It's another great way to prepare vegetables this winter season. And remember to subscribe so that you always get notified when I release a new video. And come visit me at HilahCooking.com for printable recipes. And if you have a really important question about a recipe, that's the best place to reach me if you need an answer immediately. So let's give it a shot. See you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye. I'm putting scalloped potatoes on your motherfucking radar. Better believe that mashed potatoes are the enemy. Cause with the scalloped potatoes, you can make them all ahead of time. And wait. This is terrible.